See, out of this world.
Oh,
Yeah, girl, and it's I don't know what's going
That
on.
is
It's
nice.
so dark, and I'm disappearing, so I don't know what's happening.
Oh, you probably got a screensaver thing on you as a picture.
yeah. Hi, Dr. Lamb. How are
Good
you?
afternoon.
Hello.
How's everybody?
Still at work.
Still at work? Yeah, that's kind of the way it works around here too.
Reed.
I put my hat on.
Oh no! Look at you with the hair.
It's Christmas.
My kids run up to you and like.
Yeah, it's that season. Ready for Santa Claus gigs.
Yes, there you go. Perfect.
I've got my first in-person one Friday night.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
You are the perfect fit. That is good.
Oh,
Yeah.
Chiffon said she might be running a few minutes late. She was on her way home about 45 minutes ago. So.
How long have you been doing Santa gigs?
5 years.
Oh,
Okay.
I do, this is one of my books. I do a lot of online since COVID.
Okay.
We do those, but you can see in the, oh, there it is on the corner, it kind of shine. This one on the corner behind me, that's a picture from, I've got that one again this Thursday. Work with his grandmother. So I'll do that one. And then Friday I've got mine, which supports, let's see now, we do Women and Children's Shelter and Toys for Tots. We do that one Friday night. I've already done the one for the Women and Children's Shelter. And then we do one for a couple of different elementaries there, the 2 elementaries in Bowling Springs, Little Bulldog, and then I'll do one for one-to-one initiative Chromebooks for Kaiser, and then I'll do the holiday weekend at Gardner Webb. I'll do the men's game on Friday night, the women's game basketball on Saturday afternoon, where we have invite kids from the community in, and so hopefully I'll get, my wife will shear me right at Christmas, I guess, this year, but yeah. I start
booked and busy,
this
booked and busy.
I start this mist in August, and so that's early enough. Early enough. Sean, when his turn's white one of these days, he can get in the business.
There you go, Sean.
Oh my Lord, I was thinking the same thing. Oh, boy.
I was told that today, and it's starting to get there. I tell you, Dylan in public ed, it'll get there faster than you want it
Yeah,
to.
it'll all of a sudden, you'll just wake up one day and
Wake up one day.
you'll be old and you'll be Santa Claus. Just flips up on you.
That's a good one.
Well, so there you go.
Flips up. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I won't
Okay.
spend too much of your time tonight. So in the spring, you'll have 738. There'll be 2 groups. And so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put y'all together. There's gonna be 3 of us. I'm gonna train 2 new folks because I'm getting old. And Sandy's gonna have to lay down and rest here one of these days. And so I've got two younger professors who are who want to learn this, and so I'm so excited. So we're going to add Dr. Kelly Burgess and Dr. Malia Neal. They're my folks from Mel's, and so I'm so excited to I'm so excited to have them, and they're going to train with us this spring, and so we'll be putting them together. So let me start with what our schedule is going to look like this spring. And as a reminder, while I'm sharing my screen, all you really need to have when you show up in the spring is the place that you're going to partner with and some notion of what their problem is. And that's even optional. Just as long as you got a place to partner with, we're golden. One of the things that is more of a problem than you think it is actually is if you've done too much and not enough. And I'll talk about that in a few minutes. But looking at the schedule, my plan right now is just for us to come online on Tuesday night, January the 11th. We'll do introductions and all those things. And our first class will be Saturday, January 22nd. Right now, it'll be in person at the Charlotte campus. That's if COVID restrictions are lifted. I don't think they will be. So as you know, in Mecklenburg County, we have it would be an indoor mask mandate, everybody, and social distance and all that. I keep trying to get Gary to make a commitment. He won't commit to me having that big room downstairs for 17 of us. And there'll be 20 counting of the 3 instructors and 17 of y'all. And so if that doesn't work out, if the mandates are still in place, we'll just go online. I would prefer to meet face to face, but that's not my call. So we'll see how that goes. But that will be our first day. Now, after that, all of our sessions are scheduled to be online, and they're half days on Saturday from 9 to 1 every other Saturday, because the engagement piece. Students will tell you that you can't just meet it once every 2 months and expect to engage with this material. Every other Saturday, we go half a day. We do all these things. Let's see. I'll probably take this out because I am going to add a formal Saturday, one of our regular modules for Qualtrics. I'm going to, so what you folks got to understand is, again, it's every other Saturday without any travel. But what you folks have got to understand is through this class and after this class, you and I are going to be joined at the hip, because I am your methodologist. And you're going to, as you collect your data, as you analyze your data, we're going to do any of your survey work, we're going to do it Qualtrics, so that we can analyze it and have it. And then I have to approve your surveys to make sure they're both valid and reliable, and that we've met our informed consent and all the things that the university says we have to do. So, but if you have a partnering organization, and that's literally all you have to have, somebody that says, yep, we'll work with you, we'll pick it up and we'll go from there, and you'll still be on time. One of the biggest problems we have, and you've heard me say this, is folks think that consultancy is internship. It is not. It is not internship. They're supposed to be learning from you, not vice versa. And if you partner too soon, that's when all these projects fall apart at the end. Is you get started too soon and they've been waiting around on you to do something, or they think you, or when you tell them that, no, I'm going to be collecting data at your place, they thought you were just going to hang around the water cooler. They were going to mentor you and tell you a few stories. No, you're there to help them. They've got a significant problem. So as long as you've got a place that then we're golden. We'll learn how to do all these things. We'll learn how methodology works. We'll learn quantitative and qualitative. We'll put it all together. We'll learn how to put all this together. But now, one of the things that I need for everybody to understand as well is this. There is no doctoral program at an accredited institution that simply allows you to take 9 classes and says that you're a doctor. It doesn't work that way. The whole point of a doctoral experience is that you have to propose your research. We do action research. That proposal has to be approved. You go out and do it, and then you have to defend it at the end. For some reason, I don't know why, folks have gotten this notion, well, if I can just work on my own and just take my classes, as long as I pass them, then I'm going to get done. I don't think so. The university has a say-so in this beyond me or Dr. Hamilton. And so I am holding the IRB folks at bay as long as I can to make them, to get them not to make you actually propose to them your first 3 chapters and go through that year long. That's a year. If you wanted to, but you know, I am trying to convince them that I can do that, and that you can pass your IRB, that we won't let you go too fast and come in and already have collected data before I get a chance to teach you about reliability and validity and informed consent and all those protections that we have to have in place from the university. That's, you know, I've been battling them, but unfortunately, every time we have somebody that goes out and just kind of on their own does this, wants to get ahead, and it gets back to the IRB person, who's also the dean of the graduate school, is just more evidence to make us go through the IRB process. And then you will have a 4-year program rather than a 3-year program. That's just the way it works. And so, again, everybody has to propose. You will propose at the end of 738. You will propose what that you were going to go out and do. And then at the end of your last class, 755, you will have a final defense, just like my 7 did week before last. Now, I had 10 that passed their proposals Saturday. That would be 2 days ago. I had 10 that got through. All 10 got through. Everything was good. Their technique was flawless, because if it hadn't been, I'd have pulled every one of their nose hairs out. But now I'll just tell you this. I've been their best friend for the last month. We've probably met. And I'm sitting here looking at this. For example, I met with Marla, Jamiko, Jim, and Alexandra on Thursday. That's where I had class. I mean, that's how we'll meet, we'll talk. I mean, this will be, you know, on and on and on. I met with Kim on Tuesday. I met with one on Thursday. We've been meeting to get these proposals ready. You'll meet with me, and then you will meet. Okay, then I had Melody the day before that. And then I had a second one with Kim, a second one. I had 3 with Alexandra. But then prior to that, when all of my others defended their final defense, we all defended 7 of us in 5 days. Prior to that, I met with them 2 or 3 times a day for a month. The notion here is, I will not let you go to your proposal defense and embarrass you or me or the university. I will not let you go to your final defense. If I have to come to your house, I don't care. You will not embarrass the DEOL program or me or yourself or the university. When you come to your proposal defense, just like all 10 did, we defended 10 proposals Saturday, 10 for 10. When they came in Saturday, they knew their business. They didn't have to sit and read their slides. They were able to speak to their methodology just lickety-split, because they were planned and prepared. Now, will you have to work? Here's what one of them said in his reflection, and I'll let you read this part. Let me share my screen. This is class I will have no trouble recalling upon completion of the DEOL program. Apart from my hate relationship with statistics, I have developed a newfound appreciation for the genius and aptitude of methodologists. Basically, she went on to say is you got to be in it every day. You got to be in it to win it. This one says she was grateful to work at her own place and turn in post. Willing to work with on Qualtrics outside. This one said, most demanding semester of coursework I've ever done in the DEOL program. A lot of attention and time reading, discuss, I had to push myself at every point. So my point in sharing that with you is this is a different experience than what you have done before. This requires a level of commitment. We are changing gears now and moving into the real doctoral work, which is disciplined inquiry. That's what separates doctoral terminal degrees from all other degrees, is disciplined inquiry. Discipline means you follow the rules. That there's a way that we do this. You don't batwing or bootleg it on your own. That I won't say, well, yeah, you can do it that way. I'm I'm going to tell you when I'm going to tell you yes or no, and I'm not ever going to be gray. And there's going to be no higher authority for you to appeal to. If I tell you no, it's no. We'll do something else. That's the way this is going to work. I talk, you listen. We'll be a partner in this. Because I am trying to prevent you from embarrassing yourself or costing yourself a year or having to put yourself through what the university is going to put you through with IRB. I'm trying to, this is one of those situations where it's kind of like my position coach used to tell me, we didn't pay you to think. We didn't expect you to use your head for that, we expect you to stick it in the tight end's ribs when he comes across the middle. Don't think. Stick to what you're good at. Again, I am trying to guide you through a doctoral program, being your committee chair and your methodologist. I wear both of those hats. And we will get you through. As I said, all 7 of mine finished this time. They'll get their doctorate Saturday. All 10 that I had this semester passed their flying colors through their proposal on Saturday. Now, they may hate me. They probably stick pins in my doll all the time, but that's just part of it. But the notion here is if we're bulletproof, if our technique is flawless, if we have done the right kinds of things, we won't have to worry about people being able to stand on the sidelines and call into question our work. Now, you understand in the doctoral business, the public can attend either one of your defenses, either your proposal or your finding, and ask any questions that they want to, or say anything that they want to about how bad your technique is. You notice those emails come out all the time announcing defenses, both proposal and final. It's a public notice to everybody in the university community. Anybody can show up. And there is no price of admission. And no, they don't have to be this high to ride this ride. They can be, some village can be missing their idiot, but they can still show up at yours. But the problem is when people show up and say this is wrong or this is bad, or the IRB people show up and say, no, that should have come through us. That there's harm involved, or there's deception, or there's reward or something. You have violated the rules of action research, which is ad hoc internal studies. And now you're going to have to go public with that part of it too. So trust me, we can get through this. We'll have a lot of laughs. It'll be fun. You'll learn a lot, but it's going to take a different kind of commitment than you've had before. You can't come to class and then show up 2 months later. It's every other week. It's the only way you're going to keep up with methodology. Methodology is just too much. It's too deep and extensive, and you can't fake it. You actually got to have real skills to do this. You can't just sit around and pontificate and theoretical questions or, hypothetical or, those kinds of things. You must have a real skill set. And so when you propose, here are the things that you will have to be able to have as a part of your proposal defense. And so we go here. There are no rhetorical questions in this line of work. Your final proposal defense presentation PowerPoint will start with an introduction. What's the problem I'm seeking to address? Why is it important? That's your why. Now, if you already know that from the partnering organization, wonderful. If you don't, we'll help you get to that. What's my hypothesis or research question? What hypothesis? It's a swag. It's a stupid, wild ass guess. From there, we go to research questions. And those are things that are measurable. These are the things that we need to be able to answer. And so that leads us to what our data would be. Then we'll do our literature review, our theoretical framework. There's only 5. You will pick one. That will guide your research. From there, you will do a lit review on the particular problem that you have and potential solutions from the literature. Then methodology, we do mixed methodology. We either do convergent or explanatory. We do not do exploratory. Again, we stay in the ballpark between the lines. If we go outside of either convergent or explanatory mixed methodology, we're going to have to get involved with IRB. But action research, this is all it ever is. It's not theoretical. You're doing ad hoc research at an organization. And so it's going to be mixed methodology. It's either going to be convergent or explanatory. It's never going to be exploratory. We don't do theoretical work. We do action research. And then you'll tell us how you're going to collect your qualitative and quantitative data. Those are your projects. And then all you have to have on these 2 slides are just say, I know I'll do my findings, recommendation, and I'll do an action plan project delivery. That's it. That looks pretty simple, doesn't it? But you'll learn all the pieces that go with this along the way. And so all I really need for us to be successful is your time and your talent. We're going to meet every other Saturday and just have a partner organization, and we can go from there. Now, if you've done more than that, now let me say this. You don't have to tell everything you know. I had some that got hung up last semester on the notion, well, I've already collected my data. I know, I've been working with you. I was there. That would be me. I was right there with you. But you keep saying proposal. Well, that's how it works. You don't go to your proposal defense and say, I've already done this. You don't get to vote on it. Don't be that dumb. You don't have to tell everything you know. But if you've already moved past that point, that's great. And I'll facilitate you to do that. But it's your proposal. You go in and propose what you're going to do, future tense, and everybody says, yeah, that sounds good, and everybody goes on. But if you go in and say, I've already done this, and they'll say, well, this is the final defense. Where's your deliverables? Well, then you don't pass your final defense. Again, I don't know whoever's going to show up at these things. I hold them on Saturdays, so nobody, hopefully. That's why I have them on Saturdays. Now, your final defenses, I have to schedule Monday through Friday. But your proposals, I can schedule those on Saturdays. So last Saturday, one associate dean showed up, and that was it. And she didn't know what day it was anyway, so I didn't really care about that. If I couldn't buffalo her, not the sharpest pencil in the box, so I wasn't worried about her. But other than that, that's, I schedule these on Saturday for a reason, so that nobody will bother us, And then when you get done and I say he's passed or she's passed, we go on about our business. And then next semester, I'm with you as you collect. We work crawl tricks. If you want to venture out on your own and create your own survey and send it to me, I publish it and send it back to you so you can distribute it. Or if you have me, you send me a Word document and I build it for you right quick. And we start collecting your data, and then we analyze it, run you numbers. And then, by the time the semester is over, after you're done with me, you're done with that part of it. You're done. You just write up whatever you're going to give to them and go on about your business. And then you get ready for your, to finish out your coursework. This is not supposed to take you the whole length of your program. In semester 5, when I have you, we start it, we collect our data in 6, we write it up and hand it out in 7, and we're done. You've got all of semester 8 to get ready for your final defense. We're going. So, you're with me a lot in the spring. I'm with you in the summer, hopefully. And then, by the time the fall rolls around, we're done with, between spring, summer, and early fall, we're done with collecting our data, writing it up, and handing the partnering organization their deliverable. We're done with that. You're done with me, and most everybody can be done by the time their fall class rolls around. They're done. And we satisfy everybody at the university. Everybody's happy. The accreditors are happy. Everybody's pleased. Everything is good. But, but you've got to play along. You've got to understand that a doctoral program, it's all about defending your work. That's what gets you through. Taking 9 classes will not get you a doctorate. You must be able to propose and defend your action research, as in any doctoral program anywhere. All right. Questions you have for me?
I have a question.
Yes.
So can my partnering organization be my school that I work at?
It can be. It's not smart to do that, though. I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you, it's not a good idea. Because we don't thump the numbers. I'm going to tell you up front. Data has no value. It's neither good nor bad. It just is. But now organizations don't look at it like that.
Right.
I can tell you that right in a hurry. You run the risk if you do it at your work or your church. You run the risk of you're no longer preaching and now you're meddling. You've gone too far.
Gotcha.
You know, that's what happens. Now I can sit here and tell you at least 20 stories, at least 20. I've got 2 that are brewing right now. One of my ladies that just finished this summer, I had 7 that finished this fall, excuse me. I had 7 that defended 3rd week in November. Her own church ghosted her. Grew up in the church, been there all of her life. Was the most faithful, one of the most faithful members they had. They ghosted. We had to salvage hers in the 8th semester. Her own church ghosted her. That's
When you
right.
say that we're gonna start on January 22nd, and then 2 weeks after that, we meet again, right?
Every 2 weeks.
Okay, from January 22nd. I'm just trying to plan my Saturdays. Okay,
We'll meet that first week on a Tuesday. Was that on Tuesday night? I had that. We'll go back to that.
Yeah, that's January 11th. You were saying we were meeting in Charlotte? And is
So
it,
here's the plan right now. Let me go to that. Here's the plan again. Listen carefully.
okay,
We will meet online on Tuesday, January the 11th to kick off the semester.
right,
That will be our first kickoff meeting. And I have to do that because roll verification will roll around before January 22nd. And so we meet that night to verify the roll. If you show up that night, check mark. I'll verify that you're there. We won't spend a lot of time, that hour it'll be an hour or less. And then on this day, on January 22nd, the plan is to meet face-to-face in Charlotte all day. If the restrictions aren't lifted, if we can't get that room downstairs, if we still all have to wear masks and social distance all day, we'll just do it online at home.
okay,
But
Okay.
we're gonna meet all day that day,
okay,
whether it's in Charlotte or online.
okay, what I'm asking is just Saturday?
Yeah,
yeah,
we don't meet on Sundays.
Excuse me?
We don't meet on Sundays,
Okay, thank you.
just Saturday. All Saturdays. All the time.
Well,
And then in 2 weeks, we're gonna meet on Saturday online, and from there on, we don't have any more face-to-face. We only have that one. Remembering the DEOL program just went through a 5-year review and program revision, and so starting this spring, supposedly, I've been doing it for a while, that none of the classes are gonna meet but one weekend. Some of them gonna meet Saturday and Sunday, but I just meet Saturdays.
okay.
It'll be
I
our
mean-
Saturday morning cartoons.
I am a Saturday morning cartoon. But no, I learned a long time ago, the content of what I'm doing, 4 hours with breaks is most anybody can stand. I mean, we're not talking about, we're not doing basic math here. We're doing calculus here. We're doing statistics. I'm going to try to stay away from as much of the calculus as I can, but this is higher level stuff. And I can tell you right now, when I used to do Saturdays and Sundays, I was wasting my time on Sunday. Everybody was already, everybody was just, they'd done checked out by Sunday. I'm not interested in the amount of time. I'm interested about how much you learn and can you do the work and move on. Remembering that in this program, we do all of our methodology in 1 semester and the other doctoral programs do it in 2. But we're in and out and done in 3 years. Where they're 4 years, most of them. Well, one of the ways that we can do that is y'all got to strap it on for a semester and go through what they go through in 2. You got to do in 1. And that was one of the things that one of those feedback is, that's what Tim had said. We really ought to be 2 semesters for this. Well, yeah, but now are you willing to do another year and pay for it? That would be no.
No.
And so, yeah, we want to finish in 3 years, done, finished. In 3 years, in out, nothing extra. Well, the only way to do that, we have 1 semester for methodology. That would be And so you got to strap it on. And what I find is that first day, because of the nature of that day, I can get away with doing all day on the first day because a lot of it's turns and things like that. But after that, 4 hours is all you can take. And it's a fool's errand to try to do this in an all day, all Saturday, all day Sunday, or even half day Sunday. I've tried it. I know how it works back in the day. So what we're trying to do is find a way that fits what we're doing and works for you, not what works for me. Do I like never have a Saturday off? See, I had a section this time. I didn't get one Saturday off this semester. Do I care? No. Because in the end, my job is to make sure your folks learn this stuff going forward. Is it better for me to meet three Saturdays? Look, you know, I live here. I can hit the Charlotte campus with a rock on a windy day. It's all the way downhill from here. You know, it's a 25-minute drive for me on Saturday morning to run down to the campus. I mean, there's nothing better than just, 3 weekends the whole semester, and then the other 13 I'm free. But y'all don't learn that way. And now that we're doing this dissertation in practice, as our accreditors said we're going to do, and our 5-year review. And so, I've been doing this for 2.5 years in terms of this new and different format, because we knew what was coming. We'd already been told that we were going to have to change to a dissertation in practice format. And so we did. And it works. And everybody's, I can't, and I'm not going to tell you, y'all are going to be giggling and want to put my head on, my face on Mount Rushmore. I'm not telling you that. But that's not the point. The point is that y'all get in, get out, you learn. We still can finish the program in 3 years. And that you're proud of the work that you do. Some of those projects on Saturday, oh, they're wonderful. But back to the question about where you work and your church, that's, I think there's going to be a formal decision on that coming soon. I'm hoping that it won't catch this group. Actually, Dr. Hamilton talked to me about it this morning. The university's legal department is looking at that right now. And we're leaning toward, probably for the fall, group coming in the fall, you will not be able to do this at where you work unless where your work is paying for you to do this. Because we've had there is so many issues with this. The group that I had Saturday, Kim's doing it at her own church in Farmington. David is doing what he does for a living in Gaston County, in another county, and they're actually paying him. Tim's doing it where he works at Chapel Hill in the library. Alexandria Blair is doing hers where she works. Kansas is doing hers. Jamaica's doing his where he works, but not in his department. Marla is doing hers where she works in her department. And then Melody is doing hers where she works. And the reason why they're doing this is they want to get started. Now, one of them's already lost her job over this. She has been non-renewed and won't be back in January. It's a risk you take. When you gather data that does not support the narrative of the place where you work, and that happens a lot in public agencies like K-12 schools and community colleges, state universities. When you gather data that does not sing out the same songbook that says, wait a minute, why this is not what you've been telling the public, they tend to not like that. And also when you do research in church that does not support what the pastor thinks how it ought to be and what he's telling, the deacons and what they tell the parishioners on Sunday morning, then guess what? They all of a sudden just ghost you. It's your own church. So when people ask me, I tell them, I'm not gonna stop you. That's up to you. But now, it rarely does it go well. There's always hard feelings, but if we can get through, then it's been successful from that. But now remember, you still got to work there and go to church there. And even though we might get you through, and it's the easiest and quickest way to get you through, as you see for that, it's the easiest, quickest way to get you through. But a lot of these folks, they don't intend to work there forever. They're using this to launch into something else, and I hope that works out for them, because the very truth of the matter is, they're kind of persona non grata where they work now. It's amazing how when you tell the truth, when you engage in discipline inquiry and you're ethical in what you find, it's amazing how threatening that is to people. So that's just a caution. But as of right now, it has not been outlawed. It's just, but it will be shortly for a number of reasons.
Mine is an online ministry. They're in Colorado.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about that. I volunteer, been there. since
Yeah.
20
That's fine.
Okay. Are you, and Gwen gonna have scheduling problems? Because they're Colorado. I mean, we're talking 3-hour difference. So I don't know. Maybe it's something we'll just have to talk about when we get to talking. And should
Yeah.
I warn her when should I warn her to when this is gonna start? 'Cause she's
Well, she doesn't have to come to your proposal defense. Your partnering organization, the only time they have to show up is at your final defense in your last semester. That's another reason why we want to avoid IRB. That will change if we go under the IRB, the formal IRB process. Right now, your partnering organization only has to show up at your final defense, period.
Okay.
That's it,
How-
in the last semester.
Is there a certain amount of time that she and I would have to meet? Or is that? when
No,
we're- Okay.
no,
All right.
that's up to you.
Okay. Because mostly.
Now,
she-
as we work through your methodology,
Okay.
the only thing is we got to be able to collect data, and you can do that online through survey. So it's not an issue.
Okay.
And we have a lot more flexibility. Everybody understands that colleges have institutional review boards, and their job is to uphold the methodology and the rigor and the reputation of the university and protect participants on the other side. And so they have this long laundry list of rules. Now, I'm not saying that they're bad rules. I'm saying they take a long time. If you go under the IRB process, you can add a year or two to your program to make sure you do all. Now, I'm going to make sure you do all those things, but I'm going to do it in a much more timely fashion. So in the end, you'll be able to stand up to the scrutiny of an institutional review board. We just want, you can call me or you can email me and I'll get back to you in minutes, not in months. That's what we're talking about. I'll tell you if something is good, bad, or indifferent, or if we can do it or not, because I know the same thing with the IRB people too. I'm a certified IRB person, so I can tell you whether the answer will be yes or no, but I'll tell you right now. And I won't wait around 2 or 3 months and try to soften the blow. Trust me, I've never been accused of that. I'll just tell you no. Can't do that. We'll do something different. But I'll tell you what we can do. See, now that's the thing, the IRB, that takes forever. When they tell you no, they don't tell you what you can do, or they don't offer you any suggestions or alternatives or all that. They just make you keep guessing until they figure out till you find something they like. Let me say that again. When they tell you no, you can't do that, or you got to, they won't tell you what you can do. I'll tell you what you can do. I'll say, nope, we can't do that, but we can do this. It works just as well. Let's go do that. They don't do that. They just give you the thumbs up or thumbs down. If they give you the thumbs down, you got to scratch your head in other parts of your body trying to figure out what they'll want next time. They don't give you any clues. They won't give you any direction. They'll just tell you yes or no. And if they tell you yes now, that doesn't preclude them from when you started, for them when you start getting data coming in or whatever, they may, well, we don't like that. But now the answer is no. See, now if I tell you to go, you go. And then we'll live with it one way or the other. And if it's not, if it's not like we need it, we'll just fix it. And we'll keep on going. But we're not going to land the plane and get out and be on the ground for months. We're just going to, if we have to work on it while we're flying, we'll just have to work on it. But that's the beauty of not being one semester methodology, not IRB. If we go to 2 semesters and add IRB, then we have to add a year. It's just that way it works.
Dr. Lamb,
Yes.
go ahead. Sorry, whoever spoke.
Yeah, Beverly.
Oh, I'm sorry, Joe. I didn't know you weren't finished. Go ahead. Are you done? Okay. I just have a question, and I may be the only one that's confused. We have to do some modules in the IRB. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And how do we know which modules to do? Because I
All
tried to go.
17.
I had more than that show up. I don't know if I did something wrong.
No, you do the basic course that has 17.
Okay. I must have selected something wrong. I must have gotten ahead of myself or not paid attention.
Basic course, there's 17 modules in the basic course, starts with the Belmont report. So if we share my screen.
Starts with what? I'm sorry, what'd you say?
The Belmont report. And so if we did. So if you go to CI.
If I'm the only one this pertains to, we can wait and do this at the very end. I don't want to hold everybody else's time up if they already know exactly how to get there and all that stuff.
No, that's fine. As you log in, you use your Gardner Web email and email password login. And Graduate School of Education Research Investigators, that would be you. You're not signatory official or help. And so you do this one. And when you go under there, you're going to all right, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There are 17 modules. Conflicts of interest in human subject research. I guess that's the first one. Then the Belmont report. But we're doing the basic course under education, School of Education. You are a student researcher. What you have done, I suspect, is gone in under faculty. And like when I have to go take mine, as you can see, all these different modules that I've had to do over the years, I have to do 3 different sets, but the basic one is 17, and this is it right here. Conflicts of interest in human subject research, and then the Belmont report. I thought it was first, but I guess it's second now. I know our chapter in Royce is starts with the Belmont report, one that we cover. So back to this one, you're doing Graduate School of Education. You are a student researcher. You're doing the basic course, and there are 17 modules. That is the one that you do. I will cover that at our first class session on the 22nd to make sure that you get in if you haven't been in. And I will check to make sure at that point that everybody has done theirs.
That will be the thing we need to do before class starts.
That is correct. I'd like for you to have that done by the 22nd when we meet. And I will advise you of that on the 11th. That's one of the reasons why we're meeting on the 11th. That gives you 11 days or 10 days. Takes about between 4 and 6 hours, according to how fast, you know, how tired your lips get when you read. And so takes between 4 and 6 hours to complete those 17 modules. And, you know, they have to have a little test at the end of each one of them, 4 or 5 questions, and you get 80%, you go on to the next. But since you got that certification and I am a certified IRB administrator, we're keeping university IRB department out of our business right now. And I want to continue to keep them out of our business right now. Because this is not, I mean, just my bestest friend is it's like being Forrest Gump and Bubba in the movie Forrest Gump. He's my bestest friend. But we know what it will do enrollment if it goes from a 3 to 4 year program. It will kill enrollment. It's just that simple. You know, I don't mind. I mean, it would be easier for me to teach quantitative and then, you know, get one of them ladies from curriculum to teach the qualitative. It'd be a whole lot easier on me to do it that way. I wouldn't have to meet every other Saturday. But we also know that if we went back to a traditional 4-year doctoral program, as most of these are, that we'd lose probably 60 to 80% of our market share. And so how smart would that be? Again, so to keep it at 3 years, we have to keep it this way. And it still falls within the guidelines of the accreditors, the review people. You know, we're trying to, this program is patterned after the one at, initially at Pepperdine, but more so Vanderbilt now. The lady from Pepperdine was with us a couple months ago. Some of you might have been involved in that. She talked to some students. But we're trying to mirror, our accreditors want us to mirror what's going on at Vanderbilt, which is dissertation and practice. And that's what we've been doing for the last 2.5 years, is dissertation and practice since the spring of 19. So, yeah, 17 modules, basic, School of Ed, student researcher. And if you don't get the right one, I'll help you do that. We'll get the right one, Beverly, if you need to. Okay. All right. So now.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So again, for those that are listening live, and for those who will listen to the recording, no doctoral program, accredited doctoral program, simply lets you take a series of courses and then hands you a doctorate. Every doctoral program has an aspect of proposal and final defenses. That's just the way a doctorate works. So please don't be freaked out by that or think, you know, they said I could get done in 3 years. Yeah, if you do all the things you need to do. But if your proposal is not good, it will be, or I won't let you. But your final will be great unless you do like one of the fellows did this summer. Now, we did have a person this summer. 11 of my 12 this summer got through. We had one that did not. I would not let him through. Now, he probably will always hate me for that. It kind of makes me happy. Everybody can't love you. But he showed up at his final defense with a different project than he showed up at his proposal with. Now, I don't mean a little bit different. I don't mean a little bit different. I mean completely different. And hadn't executed it, and then was mad that he thought, well, I finished this. I graduate this semester. No, you don't. You don't just graduate because it's the end of the 9th course. That's not the way it works. Well, but his argument was, I've done the 9 courses, I should graduate. but you didn't show up with your final project even completed, and it wasn't even the one that you did your proposal. Yeah, but I'm at the end of my 9th course. And so when I had him in the spring of 19, he proposed to do a program evaluation of a high school peer mentoring program. Peer mentoring, high school peer mentoring. He was going to do a program evaluation of that program, see if it was working. When he showed up at his final defense, his project was to implement a trauma-informed curriculum in elementary school. Do you think that the methodology is even close on what you would do for a program evaluation versus an implementation? Even if it were the same program, but it wasn't even close. And his argument was, I have finished my 9th course. I should be allowed to graduate. And I said to Dr. Hamilton, I said, you need to slap me that I ever passed him in 738 to begin with. This is self-inflicted dumbassery here. I'm the one that passed him. But I said, look at his proposal. It was flawless. It was great. It was wonderful. Then he shows up at his final defense, and the problem is not only was it a completely different project, he hadn't executed any of it. Nothing. As if this was some kind of a theoretical exercise that if that didn't work, we could just decide to do something else. And oh, by the way, we don't really actually have to do any of this stuff. And I was like, you do understand this is action research, that you actually, whatever you propose to go out and do in terms of your methodology, your collection of qualitative and quantitative data, whether you do it in an explanatory design or a convergent design, I expect you're actually going to do it. That's why I teach you how to use qualitative. We're actually going to do this.
I have another question. If we pass the proposal and we get into the meat of the actual dissertational practice and we start the project and we see that it is shifting and it's because we are basically working with consulting with another organization.
Right.
Is that something that you then revisit with you and say?
Absolutely. That's why I said for a semester, I'm your best friend. You'll have me on speed dial.
So it's not locked in.
If we went through IRB, it would be. We would have to restart the whole thing over again. If we go through the IRB, if there can be no, and I do mean no, zero changes in what IRB eventually approves. And again, they don't have to tell you why they did, or they don't have to tell you what an alternative is. They make you guess until you finally get it right. And then once they say, this is it, when I mean this is it, this is it. They can't even be as much as a I dotted or a T cross different than what you told them that they would do. However, since I am your IRB, we'll find a way. You just call me up and say, Dale, this happened. What can we do? And I said, we'll do this, this, and this, or we'll do this and that. But I won't add enough to make it be that it's going to extend your time. We'll understand our time constraints, and our fix will be based on how much time and what we're going to need to do to get a fix in that amount of time. But IRB is not concerned about time, and they don't do that. And that's why I said you can book another year if you're doing with them. It's just that simple. But with me, we'll find a way. As I said, I had one last summer, he was not in my consultancy, but I had him in class, and he was in Dr. Hamilton. Dr. Hamilton checked with him in the spring, and he said, no substantive changes, all good for, all good to defend. And then he shows up at his defense that way. And then he couldn't, but his argument again was not about his work or that he didn't fulfill his, I took 9 classes, I should graduate. And if he wasn't young and stronger than me, I'd have slacked, even if I'd had to done it online. I mean, please remember that you learned something with me. The whole notion of earning a doctorate is that you've been through this disciplined inquiry process. That's what separates this from any other degree. That's why it's called a terminal degree, that you understand disciplined inquiry. You understand methodology. You can go collect data and analyze it and come up with findings. It's a dissertation in practice at an organization. That finishing your doctorate's not just about completing a sequence of courses, but this is what a doctorate is really all about. You will pass your defense. I will get you through your proposal. When you show up at your final defense, if you're smart, I'll have already read it 2 or 3 times. I will know what it looks like. You will have met with me 2 or 3 times the 2 weeks before you actually do your final defense or your final proposal. I will be on speed dial. We'll be on Zoom just every few minutes. I mean, let's see if I've got, okay, I know what I'm looking for. It's not on that one. I'm going to go to this one. Close that. Look at all these meetings that I've had with doctorals just on this computer. Alexandra 2, Marla 2, Jamiko, Kim 2, second meeting with her. Alexandria, initial meeting, Angela, the final defense, Blair, Jackie, Donna, Kim, Tawanda. Monica, Shylane, that, I mean, look. I mean, I've got 387 meetings this calendar year so far. You saw some of them 2 and 3 times within a week. We'll fix it. We'll do what we have to do. We will get through. But you know, the biggest thing is understanding that a doctorate is not just about completing a series of courses. It's all about the disciplined inquiry that goes in, whether we call it consultancy or capstone or dissertation in practice, doesn't matter. So Gardner-Webb's consultancy / capstone will now be referred to as dissertation in practice. But the good thing for you folks is we've been doing this since January of 2019. So we're coming up on we're finishing up the 2.5, this will be 3 years. The last 3-year cycle of this has all done dissertation in practice, whether we called it that or not. That's why I kept telling you, don't get in a hurry. It's not like in the old days of consultancy that you got a partner in that first semester and you know all the way through. That's not how it works. And so if you have partnered and you have collected data, we'll go look at that. And if it's not usable, I'll figure out a way to to use it the best we can, or we'll add to it. But we'll figure it out. But at this point, less is more. And if you're partnered with where you work or at your church, I won't stop you from that, and we'll try to figure out a way. But now I won't allow you not to tell the truth. And that's kind of where I'll stop tonight as our hour is up. Disciplined inquiry, the heart of disciplined inquiry is ethical concern, that you are an ethical, honest person, that you will tell the truth, that we find what we find. And that's one of the problems with working in your organization or at your church. I will not let you find this and then report that. So I'll leave you with Brittany. Brittany was one of my doctoral students in the LS program. We collected high school data from a high school in Fayetteville, and we did a convergent design. And we collected quantitative data on the number of suspensions, and they had dropped drastically the number of out-of-school suspensions. We collected qualitative data when we went out and asked the the teachers what they thought of the new PBIS program, that the number of suspensions had really dropped, and that PBIS had traditionally been used in high school. But what they thought of the new program, and their response across the board, the 20 that we talked to was, what program? We didn't even know we had a PBIS program. What are you talking about? And so what we found is the school folks just fudged the data. They just, so that because they knew somebody'd say, how come your suspensions have dropped? They said, we put this new program in. They didn't put a new program in of any kind. Teachers didn't even know. And so when it came time to do the findings of the data, that's what I had her write. And she said, well, the school will be mad. It's not my job to make them happy. It's not your job to make them happy. We report what we find. And too many times in church and in places where we work, what we find is not what they want us to have found. But we tell the truth. That's what disciplined inquiry is about. Discipline. We follow a process and we're ethical in our findings. Now, you're going to hear me every time I meet with you, you're going to hear me talk about it. One of the first documents I'm going to share with you is the 10 ways to cheat using data. DEOL's top 10 ways to cheat using data, so that you won't do that and that you'll know when somebody is doing that to you. And that's always the problem about collecting data where you work or with the church where you go. What if it's not good? What do we do then? And that's what I've had students do. What do we do now? Data's not good. What do you mean, what do we do? We report it. Well, that won't make them happy. Again, not part of the process, making them happy. It's not part of the process. And see, that's one of the things that organizations think when they get an intern, and remember, you're not interns, is that they can control the message, or they can tell you what they want you to find, or that. No, that would be no. They have no control over what we're just umpire. We just call them like we see them. We report what we find, and a lot of folks can't handle that. And I tell mine all the time. What we collect the data, we write it up the next semester. We do the deliverables the following semester. After that, we put it in their hand. We run to the bank and cash the check before the check bounce. That's what you do is in the life of the consultant. Because most of the time they're not going to hear what you want to have, what you said. They want you to do the same thing they've always done, but expect a different result. That would be Argy's double loop theory, or the theory of insanity. Do the same thing over and over again, expect a different result. That's what bottom want to do. They just want you to validate them that they're doing the right thing, that if they just do it longer and harder, that eventually they'll get the results that they want. They won't, unfortunately. And it has to be you that tells them, as I have to explain sometimes, just quote me accurately. I did not say that you were a pinhead. What I said is you could wear a thimble for a hat, and we have to be that blunt sometimes. That this isn't ever going to work because you don't understand Argy's double loop theory. What you're doing has to have an effect on what you're trying to change. Again, drinking water won't make you fly. No matter how many birds you've seen drinking water, there is no correlation between drinking water and flying. So that, and also one of the first ones that I'll teach you is heat, ice cream, and crime. There are people who believe that eating ice cream and crime are correlated. They both go up at the same time. They both come down at the same time. But there's a third variable that controls them both, that they're both correlated to, and that would be heat. The hotter it gets, the more people eat ice cream, and the more crime occurs. When it gets cooler, both consumption or crime rate and consumption of ice cream come back down. But there's no correlation between ice cream and crime. They're both correlated to heat, but not to one another. And see, those are the kinds of things that we have to learn. But we have a lot of folks out in organizations who don't understand any of those things, and they just want validation. They do usual customary practice. We're doing the right thing. This ought to work because we're doing the right thing. If it's not working, by definition, you're not doing the right thing. You're doing the usual customary thing, not the right thing. And you have assumed correlations when there isn't any. And so you have to tell some people sometime that you're not doing the right thing, you're malpracticing, you're misspending money. You're being unethical in what you're finding. You're intentionally misinterpreting your finding. Sometimes what we tell people is not exactly what they want to hear. You know, and I'll tell you the story of you quit preaching and now you're meddling. I'll tell you the full story on that one, but you understand the concept. But that's what 738 and discipline inquiry. You are now moving into the second phase of the program, the discipline inquiry research phase. This hopefully will last no more than 2 semesters, 3 at the most. And that would include the write-up, but hopefully we're in and out in 2 semesters. And you can move on with your life until you get to your last semester and putting your final presentation together. All right, questions you have for me?
Will you be sharing this recording with us?
Sure. I will be sharing the recording with you. I'll also send you the outline of the proposal defense. You can see that. I'll also share a link with you. Now the first one is kind of cut off about midway through, but after that, I'll share with you the 10 that defended this past Saturday. Now that one's like 4 hours long, but you can speed through it, but you can see what they did. And again, most of them where they work or their church, but you can see what they did. I will be sharing those with you. I'll send those out with the recording from this meeting. All right, I will see you next on Tuesday, January the 11th, at 7 p.m. We will kick off class, and I'll remind you at that point, and we'll walk through getting to the right spot on IRB, or you can email me, or we can Zoom to get you to the right spot on IRB. I would like you to have your IRB done. If you don't, we'll do it, by the end of your first class, we'll have our IRB done. We need to have that done so
Okay.
that you don't have to worry about that stuff.
What time was that on the 11th?
7 o'clock.
You
7.
said 10? 7.
7.
7.
We meet at 7 o'clock on Tuesday the 11th.
Can you send us a copy of the schedule so we know, can plan ahead?
I
for our
will when it's
Saturdays?
finalized.
Okay.
I will when it's finalized. Remember, I'm going to train 2 new people, Doctors Burgess and Neil, 2 very nice ladies, for this spring. And I've got to make sure that they're available, but I will be finalizing that in the next, I'll have it done probably tomorrow, as soon as I hear back from them, and I'll share that with you as well. All right, everybody have a good evening. I'll see you in January. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, everybody.
Pasta.